Hey sewing friends, welcome back to my channel, KwilterKris. My name is Kristen, and today we're working on block 4 of the Dragon Fruit block of the month. This is a paper pieced block, so if you're sewing along with me, that's great. Follow along with me. You'll see me make some mistakes and correct them. If you just want to see the sew along, you're definitely in the right place too. This is what our block will look like. We make 4 of these. 4 of the courthouse steps, 4 of these log cabins, 8 of these, but we sew them together to make 4 blocks, and 4 of these. So I'm so glad you're here on my channel. Thanks so much for watching. Yeah, so we're going to be doing 2 different kinds of log cabin, 4 blocks each, 1 courthouse step, 4 blocks each, and 8 of these flying geese. So you get them all. So the flying geese are in their own paper pad, and the rest are in here. So you can choose how you want to do it. I will probably pull out my 8 papers here, and my 4 papers here, and then my 8 papers here, and then we'll get started. I like to do the one that I think will go the fastest first, and then go from there. So I think we're going to make these first. So I will get all set up with that, and I'll come back and we'll do it together. I did just want to take a quick note. So these tear out of the pad pretty easy, and there's 2 on a page. The paper that they use is a very thin paper, and we're going to want to shorten our stitch length. If you're worried about running out of paper, maybe you've made a mistake, whatever, if you have a copier or a printer, you can make copies of this. You could also, if you don't, you could trace it out on like plain printer paper, inexpensive paper, or newspaper, tissue paper, something like that. And then you have an extra in case you mess up. Really, what I would do is, if you're worried about it, I would make 1 extra, set it aside, even though it does have a couple of extras in there. If you're worried, I would make 1 extra, set it inside, and it would be like your master. And then if you need to make extra, you have it there. So we're going to need 4 papers to do this, and I will cut up the pieces and then we will piece them together. Okay, so we're going to make our flying geese right here. We're going to make 8 of them. We're going to make it just how it is on the pattern, with no changes. There's lots of tips and tricks to doing this. I'm just showing you straight up like the pattern. So this is what we're making. To do this, what you're going to need are your papers. So this gives you exact piecing. There's 2 of the flying geese on each paper, so you'll need 4 of these papers. You'll need your background fabric, which is for the center triangle. That's this fabric. My squares I cut a little larger at 8 inches. You're going to need your squares for the wing parts. So mine are 4.5-inch squares cut in half diagonally. For nice to have, this is a roller to help push down your seams if you like. I have a sew line glue stick and extra sticks of glue. I have 2 add a seam rulers, or add a 1/4 inch, of different sizes. This is nice to have. It's not necessary. I'll show you how we use them. And you can also use just a regular ruler. This one's about 10 inches. So let's get started. Now, the first rule about paper piecing is you don't actually put your pieces where the numbers are, you put them on the back. So here is our fabric, and you get to decide how you want your stripes to go. So if you want your stripes to go this way horizontally, you can see the triangle. If you want your stripes to go horizontally, then you would put your square like this. Or if you want them to go vertically, you would put your stripes vertically. So in the picture, it's kind of hard to see, but they're going vertically. So that's how we're going to do it. Now, you can just glue this on. You could cut it in half and do these squares individually. we're going to do it all at once. And what I like to do is I like to glue it on, and then I will stitch around the whole center. You do not have to do that. It could make your thread show through. It's a personal preference. I like it because I feel like it holds it on. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to glue this on with my glue stick. The glue stick won't gum up your needle. It won't ruin your fabric, and you can move the fabric around. It really is just a temporary hold. Okay? And you can do these all at once or one at a time. So I glued that on there. I'm now going to stitch around this line, and I'll come back and show it to you. Okay, so it's really hard to see here because it's light thread on light fabric. So I lowered my stitch. I'm sewing on a Bernina. I lowered my stitch length to 1.9. That helps with tearing the paper off. It perforates the paper. And I just sewed all along this line over the number 1. So now I'm going to clip my threads on both sides. Okay. And so the next part is to do the section 2. So you have your paper here. You have 2 and 3. You can use the add a 1/4 inch ruler. Now looking at this ruler, I'll try to get a good, so you can see a side view. Right here, you can see there's an angle here. It's straight, and then there's kind of a little lip here, and this is a 1/4 inch. So how this helps is you lay this down on the line right here, and you flip this up, and you crease your paper. We'll move these out of the way. Okay, so now I have a good crease. You flip it, and you take your ruler with this 1/4 inch that has this catch, and you bump that right up against your paper. You then take your rotary cutter, or if you're using scissors, you could draw a mark too. You could draw a mark even if you weren't using scissors. And you cut off this excess. Okay, so now you have number 2 ready. That's with the add a 1/4 ruler. You could also do this with a regular ruler. Here's your regular ruler. This ruler is about a 10-inch Creative Grids ruler. You line it up here so that the edge of the ruler is right on your line. You lift this up and you just fold it against there. You then move the ruler out of the way and you press. Then you line this up on the Creative Grids rulers. They have a 1/4 inch marking. You're going to line up the edge of your paper right here so it exceeds a 1/4 inch. And then just like before, you draw a line or you cut. Okay, and both your number 2s are ready. At this point, you flip it over and you take your orange and you can pin it if you like, just like that. You can also, what I like to do so it doesn't shift, is you take your glue stick and you can be on the paper a little. I just am going along in that seam allowance. And you center that right like that. And you just make sure it's lined up. If it's not perfect, you can lift it up and do it again. Then you flip it over and you're going to sew on that line again. So I'll do that and come back and show it to you. Okay, so we have them both sewn on. And now at this point, you can take them over to the iron You can finger press them like this, which is just fine. You can take your little roly press if you have one, and just it helps get that seam down, whichever is your preference. Okay, so then we're going to do the same thing over here that we did with number 2. We're going to flip it up, press it, slide it over. It's all good. We're going to do that with the other side. Okay, so now we're going to sew the orange to these corners, and then I'll come back and show it to you. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of glue in our seam allowance like before. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just holding it while we sew it. You want to try to center it on there like that. We'll flip it around, do the same thing on this side. And by centering it, I mean having the point come off the edge of this previous one, both the top and the bottom, equal amounts. See how this hangs over a little here and it hangs over a little there. Then I just press that down. I will say something to note, your pieces are a little bit bigger than they need to be usually. So if it's off by a little bit, you're okay. So I'll sew these on and come back and show you. Okay, so mine's all sewn on. This is what yours should look like. Do not get worried if your paper is a little bit bigger than your fabric. That is okay. Because we're going to turn it over, and the unfinished size should be 3.5 by 6.5. And when we measure this, the solid black line, it is 3.5 by 6.5. So we're going to cut on the solid line, not the dotted line. So don't get nervous. So then we are just going to trim this up. Okay, now you have these two together and you're just going to trim on each of those lines. Okay, so then we're all set, and we've made 2 of those, just like that. All right, so I'm going to make the rest of those, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, so I completed our 8 flying geese blocks. They're right here. We're just going to set them aside for now. The next one we're going to do is the coconut block. This uses Courthouse steps and just these 2 colors. I have cut up my strips. They don't have to be exact. That's the good thing about paper piecing. And so we're just going to go along. We're going to start with the number 1. And again, we put our pieces on the wrong side here. And I put the first one, I'm going to put the glue stick, and then I'm going to stitch around, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Now, after you glue this on, you can hold it up to the light, and you should be able to see the lines through the paper. And when you hold it up line side up, and you hold this up to the light, you should be able to see the outline of the fabric to make sure the fabric covers your entire number 1 square. So we'll sew this on, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've gotten my square sewn on in the middle here, and now we're going to do 2 and 3. Now the way we get this look like this is all these center ones, 2, 3, 4, and 5, are going to be this white fabric, and the pink is the center. So we'll work on that, and I'll show you how that goes. So the next piece is piece 2. Now you can totally bend the paper like how we did it. So you can take this and bend it up. We'll push this out of the way. And we trim that off. Okay. You don't have to do that part because the square is so small. Then we're going to take piece 2, and we're going to put it right sides together. So here's the right side, here's the wrong side. We're going to lay it wrong side up. And again, you can use the glue stick in the seam allowance, just like that, and lay that down. So it's been sewn. You can iron it, you can finger press it, you can take your little roller. Okay, the next one we're going to do is 3. We're going to do it the same way. I'm not going to trim it up because it doesn't really matter. It's pretty close anyway. We're going to lay this on. Okay, and stitch it up. Okay, so we have our 3 in a row. Take our roller, roll it, we're all good. Okay. So now we're at to piece 4. You can cut those threads if you want to. Gonna take our handy dandy ruler here, line it up with the edge, fold it over, flip our ruler so we have that 1/4 of an inch. It's really close though, so you don't have to do this part if you don't want to. Take one of our strips, line it up. Okay, now you can put some glue on there if you want. You can just hold on to it, whatever you like. And then we're going to flip it over and take it over to the sewing machine. Okay, so we've got that. We just finger press it, turn it around. Same thing here. We're going to line it up with the edge. We hold on to it, flip it over, and stitch it down. Okay, that's all done. And the next is the pink. So we'll flip it back. Again, you can trim your threads. Okay, piece 6 will be next. We're going to bend it. Just going to line it up just like that. And again, you can glue it or pin it if you want. I'm just going to hold it. Next is piece 7. Okay, so it's looking pretty good so far. We're going to lay this down. Piece 8. Lay it down. My pieces are a little bit longer because when you cut out pieces for a paper piece block, it doesn't matter. Okay, that's piece 8. It's looking pretty good. Now we gotta do piece 9. This is how mine looks. I took it over to the iron to press it down. I just wanted to make sure it was really down. You do not have to do that. So mine's looking pretty good. We just need the one more row around the outside. Okay, next is 11. And we go stitch it on the line. Then you open these up. You can finger press them. You can iron them. And then it doesn't really matter which piece we do next. This one's okay. Last piece to this block. Okay, and there's our finished square, the exact size that we need. I will do 3 more and come back and show you, and then we'll do the next ones. Okay, so we have our finished courthouse steps blocks and our finished flying geese blocks. We're just going to put those aside for now. And now we're going to work on our log cabin blocks. So these are orange and white. They're just like the other ones that are the 2 different kinds of pinks. Here's the paper that we're going to use. And the white goes on the light, and the darker colors, or the other prints, the oranges, go on the left. So I'm just going to line these up here so you can see them. I have already cut these out. So we have the 2 whites, and then the orange with the pinks, and then the pinks. So these are going to start out just like all of our other blocks. We're just going to stitch around it. We're going to start out in the center on the blank side. And we're just going to take our glue stick and we're going to put a little glue on that box number 1. And you can hold the paper up to the light so you can see where the box is. I just put a little bit of glue, and then we're going to put the first square there on it. Now this is removable glue, so if we don't get it on the exact spot we want the first time, we'll be able to lift it up and change it. So here's our orange. We put it right there in the middle, and I hold it up to the light, see if I'm covering the square. I'm not, so I have to rearrange it a little bit. Try again. It's great if you're by a window or something, so you can really make sure that you get this in the right spot where you want it. Okay, so we're all good now, and I'm going to stitch around the outside, just like always, to hold it down. Okay, so now we've gotten this all sewn on. You can see it's nice and flat. I'm going to trim my threads here a little bit. And now we're going to do the number 2. And we do this like all the others. So you got to flip to see where the 2 is. Flip it back. In your seam allowance right there, you can trim it, but ours is pretty little, so you don't have to. But we're going to put a little glue there right in our seam allowance with the glue stick. Now we're going to take the square, put it right side down. So it's important you want the wrong side showing at the top and right sides together, and then I'm going to press it on that glue. And then after that, I'm just going to take it to the sewing machine. Okay, so I've gotten this all sewn down, and I'm just going to finger press this. And because this is very similar to the courthouse step block, I'm just going to speed this up and you can watch me as I sew this block together. Okay, here's our finished block. I really like it. I think it came out well. This is after it's all trimmed up. Here's what the back looks like. I trimmed it to the second line. Yeah, it looks pretty good. We just need to make 3 more. Okay, so we're going to do our last block. It's pink and our cream, and it's log cabin. The pink will be on this side, the white will be on this side. So we're going to start with the pink one here as block 1. Same as we always do. Since this is the same block, I'm going to speed this up and then you can watch me as I do it. Okay, so this block is all finished. It's a log cabin block. I just want to go over what we did. Today, we made block 4 of the block of the month for dragon fruit. We did 4 of these orange and white log cabins. We did 4 of this courthouse steps, and we'll do 4 of this pink and white log cabin. They're each 6.5 by 6.5, and they're paper pieced. We did 8 of these flying geese. And when we're done, we will put the flying geese together like this. I still have my paper on. You can take your paper off first or not. That's up to you. I have sewn together these as well. This is how they go together. So for this, I will take this one and this, and we will sew them together like this. If you leave the paper on, you can sew on this line, which is 1/4 inch, and I will show that to you. Okay, so this gets sewn together like that. Then these will get sewn together, and then that will conclude our block. Okay, so this block is all done. Okay, so we've gotten our block all stitched up. Let me know how you liked it. Did it come together pretty easy? Was it a little tricky? Did the video help? If you liked the video, please give this a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye now.